if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump delivered the keynote address on Friday night at the rescheduled White House Correspondents Association dinner. And let's just say, Iran's not the only thing he bombed.
The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good.
Oof, even the crickets passed. Also, maybe don't throw stones at people who can't go upstairs. That's right. President Trump attended the White House Correspondents Association dinner and ended his speech by putting on a Trump 2028 hat. It was bad enough that he's a bully and a convicted felon, but now he's a prop comic? President Trump also said the reporters have no idea how lucky they are and added that when he's no longer around, quote, you'll all gonna be broke. We're broke now, said the ones who drove there. During the same speech, President Trump told CNN reporter Caitlin Collins to smile more. Okay, did you ever think she just doesn't smile around you? That's like saying my wife never orgasms. Maybe she isn't the problem. During an Oval Office event on Friday, President Trump said that Venezuela is not ready to hold new elections and added, quote, I own the Miss Universe pageant, and Miss Venezuela always did very well in that pageant. So I know something about the country. Sorry, what? That's like me saying I know a lot about Colorado because I had a Denver omelet this morning. Colorado, they grow a lot of bell peppers there. During a briefing last week, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that President Trump will deliver a tribute at the late Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral service tomorrow that honors his, quote, life and legacy. And if he has the time, he might even say a few words about Graham. Health officials in San Diego have warned patrons of a deli that they may have come in contact with a rabid bat. Good, that's what I ordered, said RFK Jr. He loves the bat. According to a new report, former President Joe Biden spends most of his time with, quote, a narrow circle of relatives, old friends, and longtime aides. Okay, but you're also describing everyone over 35. None of us are inviting people out for smoothies after yoga. According to a new survey, Wally. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be 16%. Yeah. And you went with perfect.
Yep.
So that's a problem, because that's a classic. You got 2 letters off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get nothing to say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really ironic because
It's not perfect.
yeah. I like saw it coming. I'm like, I can't make sense of this. According to a new survey, 16% of respondents said that watermelon is the most difficult food to grill. Really? Because I've had no luck with rice. Would have gone even better if you hadn't it up. By the way, now it's only fair to we read these before the show. And if the purpose of it is proofreading. It is for me to proofread, and I fully missed it then, and then I got it wrong here. So I just want to own my part of it.
I appreciate
My part of it is 16 perfect. The other 84 perfect is your fault.
Got it.
Universal Studios has announced that this year's Halloween Horror Nights will feature a new haunted house based on the Hellraiser franchise. So if you ever wanted to walk through hell, go to Six Flags. And finally, the airline Emirates recently unveiled its new You Dream headrest, while Frontier unveiled its new You Nightmare middle seat. And that was a monologue, everybody. We had a great show for you tonight. He's a multi-talented musician and actor who stars in the third season of Silo, and now streaming new episodes Fridays on Apple TV. Common is back on the show, everybody. Our friend Common is back. And she's a very funny comedian who hosts the hit podcast The Broski Report and also the YouTube series Royal Court. Brittany Broski will also be joining us. Before we get to all that, Donald Trump spoke at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and his performance was so great, everyone was stunned into silence. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Before this year, Donald Trump had not been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner in a long time, ever since some smarmy doofus baited him into running for president. No, not me, the other guy. Yeah. Happy now, pal? But he decided to show up this year because it's an evening that celebrates a free and fair press, and who's a bigger fan of our nation's press than Donald J? Wait, what the am I saying? He hates them, right?
CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news.
You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people.
I think you are a terrible reporter. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
So nasty. They're so nasty. They're so evil. They are actually the enemy of the people. They really are. It's so evil.
Boy, these people are bad. What a group of people we have. What a group of dishonest scum we have. These people right back there with the phony cameras. They're a bunch of phony lowlifes.
They have fake sources, or they don't have sources. I think they make most of it up. They really are the enemy of the people.
Well, they're going to be a very excited audience when you come out to tell some jokes. Also, the press. Why would you invite Trump to an event honoring the press and think it was going to go well? This is like asking Triumph the insult comic dog to be your best man and then being surprised when he said your bride was a perfect woman for him to poop on. So that was the backdrop, a press-hating president speaking at an event honoring the press held at the Waldorf Astoria, although I'm surprised they were able to hold it anywhere, given that Trump and the GOP insisted it could only be held in a super expensive ballroom.
A lot of senators and representatives are now saying this is why we need to get the ballroom back up and running.
We got to build that ballroom as soon as possible.
The ballroom will be a solution for this.
Being more prepared means having a facility like this ballroom.
This is one of the reasons why the president has been pushing to build this ballroom.
The president is right about this, having the ballroom on the White House grounds.
A ballroom is imperative.
This event would never have happened with the militarily top secret ballroom currently under construction at the White House.
And that ballroom is being built on the safest piece of property in this country, probably one of the safest pieces of land in the world.
It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom.
As you know, we're building a big, beautiful, very, very secure ballroom in every way with massive bulletproof glass that's almost 4 inches thick. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Donald Trump doesn't know anything about healthcare, housing, infrastructure, or foreign policy, but he knows every detail about this goddamn ballroom. Down to what type of glass they're using and how thick it is. Meanwhile, if you ask him which country we're currently at war with, he'll say,
The Islamic Republic of Japan.
In fact, Trump is so ballroom-brained that he once again used the speech to push for the ballroom, which he has now rebranded using a bunch of new words.
Everyone is now really warming up. The new White House military center, drone port, highly protected ballroom.
Everyone is warming up the what now? It used to be the beautiful ballroom. Now it's the military center, drone port, highly protected ballroom. Why stop there? Why not call it the Mountain Dew Presents the Bank of America Military Center Drone Port / Ballroom and UFC Octagon presented by Doritos? In fact, he kept going on and on to complete silence about his stupid ballroom.
It's going to be amazing. A phenomenal, one of the biggest drone ports anywhere in the world, right on the roof, right protecting the White House. Not only the ballroom, and what's underneath, you know, is supposed to be a top military secret what's underneath. Room after room of very complex stuff. It was the military's dream to have it built. I wanted to have a ballroom because for 150 years they wanted it. And then the generals came to see me and they said, sir, you're building something. This gives us an opportunity to do something that will be so unbelievable, never happen again.
Oh my God, that room is so quiet. Is the audience sitting behind 4-inch glass? Until they took a shot of the crowd, I just assumed everyone had left to go take a closer look at the ballroom. You could both hear a pin drop and see people who looked like they just sat on a pin. As a comedian, I can tell you, these are not good faces to see in an audience. Also, all of this rambling is from before he started doing his act. He's icing his own crowd. Trump is the first cool-down comic in history. The crowd would have been more warmed up if they just rolled out Mitch McConnell. Make some noise for your opening act, Mitch McConnell. He's gonna hold up today's paper to prove he's alive. All right, let's roll him back out. Good to see you, Mitch. So Trump doesn't have his newly rebranded top-secret Droneport ballroom. There was also a minor hiccup when he admitted he didn't know what he was supposed to be doing.
I said, what do we do here? Is this supposed to be fun? Am I supposed to be serious? Am I supposed to be a comedian?
What you're supposed to do is ask somebody all these questions before you go on stage. Also, I'm certain you've been to one of these before. You tell jokes, give a little speech about the First Amendment, and you go home. Why are you so confused? You sound like a grandpa at Benihana for the first time. What am I supposed to do here? Do I cook the food myself? Does he throw it at? I catch it with my mouth? I just want to get a hamburger. You could tell Trump had no idea what he was supposed to be doing because he bombed so bad, he kept on his own speech. Now, we're gonna show you a 90-second clip package. You guys, that's way too long for a clip package, but just remember, the people in the room were there for over an hour. So, count yourselves lucky.
I can exclusively reveal to you this evening that for the heaviest of the heavyweights, we will have sloppy Chris Christie, one of the sloppiest human beings you'll ever meet, fighting, I would say, I could mention the governor of Chicago, but I'm going to mention instead Jerry Nadler. And they're fighting for a big piece of cheesecake, big fat piece of cheesecake. Who the hell wrote that line? But Senator Warren did not accept our invitation to debate. I wanted to debate her on various and sundry things, and she decided not to do it. And I decided to bury the hatchet. It doesn't matter. And well, I'm not going to say this next one. You want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't high up on her totem pole. Who the hell wrote that? The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote. That was the only good one, and that went down with not exactly great laughter. I think, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love, too, So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff?
We understand it less with every word that comes out of your mouth. People ask me all the time if I think Trump is good for comedy. I'll say this, he's better for it than he is at it. Also, can we pop back to this for a second?
That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote.
I'm sorry, there was one joke you liked in your whole speech, and you still went an hour and 5 minutes? How much time you want to do tonight, Donald? Let me see, I got one good one, 2 maybes, and then the rest of it's a pile of dog. So like 65 minutes? For all your talk about building ballrooms, can you not read one? Look at these faces. Those people want to go home. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you might be the first person that made a speech that violated the Geneva Conventions. By the time it was over, the people in the crowd looked like Matt Damon at the end of the Odyssey. And Trump didn't just have a rough night at the podium. Even when he wasn't speaking, things weren't going great for him. Earlier in the night, he had to sit there while reporters for the Wall Street Journal accepted an award for their reporting on Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and he did not seem happy.
The Journal's courageous reporting on President Trump's past relationship with financier Jeffrey Epstein triggered the release of the so-called Epstein files, thousands of documents that might otherwise have remained hidden from the public. And despite the president's threat of a lawsuit, the Journal published a story about a provocative letter to Epstein bearing President Trump's signature.
Now that's funny. That's good. I mean, that's really... It's both funny the president had to sit there while they announced an award for a report on his ties to the world's most notorious sex trafficker. It's also funny that when they did, he made that face. Looks like a teenager getting a lecture from the principal. What are they gonna do next? Make him write 100 times on a chalkboard, "I will not send lewd birthday cards to sex offenders"? Although it got even weirder when at the end of that clip, Trump clapped and shook hands with the reporters who wrote the story about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Well, you got me, guys. You know, I was friends with a sex trafficker. I tried to cover it up. You found the proof. And now I'm the one with egg on my face. Congratulations, congratulations. We're all having fun. So Trump's speech was not a hit, but you know what? It's a tough room. Take it from Fox News.
The losers of the night, I thought, were the room. The room was kind of a bunch of duds.
Yeah, there was no, and you see some of the journalists I was saying, oh, they're shaking their head like, oh, he's being so mean. Come on, have a little fun, people.
Yeah, exactly. There's always some duds in the crowd. Like, I remember the year I did it, there was one guy who wouldn't even crack a smile. Also, I'm sorry, real quick. You wanted people to laugh? Okay, my question to you is when and at which joke? The fat cheesecake one?
I could mention the governor of Chicago, but I'm going to mention instead Jerry Nadler. And they're fighting for a big piece of cheesecake, big fat piece of cheesecake.
Who the hell is the governor of Chicago? My man. He can't even get his own setups right. How are we supposed to understand the punchlines? Did you meet the governor of Chicago on your trip to
the Islamic Republic of Japan?
In order for people to take a joke, you gotta make a joke. And by the way, don't take it from me that the joke stunk. Take it from him.
Who the hell wrote that line? Who the hell wrote that? That was the only good one, and that went down with not exactly great laughter.
But perhaps my favorite review of the night came not from any journalist or pundit, but from a caller on C-SPAN who was very direct.
So what did you hear tonight? What was your reaction?
I thought he was, as usual, he was a bore, he was a chode, and long-winded.
Gotta be. I don't know for sure, but that's gotta be the first time chode was said on C-SPAN. And I bet C-SPAN knew it was coming. They were like, should we do viewer calls tonight? And they were like, I mean, sure, if you want to hear chode live on air. Yeah, why the f not? We're chode-span now. This is what happens when Trump steps outside of the comfort of his MAGA bubble, like when he goes to sporting events or public places and gets booed. For 10 years, he's built a comfortable MAGA cocoon to nurture his fragile ego. Now, with that said, I would never call the president a chode, mostly because his speech was long and thin. A chode? This is important. It's not always jokes here. This is important information about... I'll wait till we're gonna turn into a bunch of school kids while I'm trying to give you important information about chodes. President was 65 minutes. I can go longer. And with that said, I would never call the president a chode, mostly because his speech was long and thin. A chode, on the other hand, is short and
4 inches thick.
This has been A Closer Look.